Have you ever heard of a day when an entire village suddenly went insane? A day when ordinary people, farmers, shop owners, children, started screaming that monsters were chasing them? A day when dozens jumped from windows, ran into the streets clawing at invisible creatures, or begged for someone to save them from things that weren't there? Now here's the real question. What if I told you this nightmare may not have been an accident? What if this was part of a secret CIA experiment that no one was ever supposed to know about? And what if right now you are about to hear the one story the US government has spent decades trying to bury? You won't believe what happened in this village, and you won't believe what I discovered while looking into this case. Today, I am sharing the CIA's most disturbing secret. So sit back and don't look away, because the deeper we go, the darker it gets. Our story begins on August 16, 1951, in a quiet French village called Pont-Saint-Esprit, a peaceful town of about 3,000 people. It was the kind of place where everyone knew each other, where families lived above bakeries, where children played in the square after school. A normal morning, a normal town, a normal life. But that was the last normal day this village would ever have, because within hours, something invisible swept through the streets, something that made people see demons, snakes, and flames that weren't there, something that turned neighbors against each other, something that sent hundreds to the hospital. People screamed that their bodies were melting. Others believed their hearts were on fire. One man shouted, "I am dead. My brain is outside my skull," as he ran through the street before diving into a river. And then the deaths started. By the end of the chaos, hundreds were poisoned, dozens were institutionalized, 7 people died. This is the event history calls le pain maudit, the cursed bread. But after everything I discovered, I don't think the bread was cursed at all. For decades, the explanation was simple. The villagers ate bread contaminated with ergot, a fungus found on rye that causes hallucinations. Ergot poisoning is real. It caused entire medieval towns to convulse, hallucinate, and set themselves on fire, earning it the name St. Anthony's Fire. So yes, the official explanation sounds reasonable. But here's where the story starts to twist. Because when modern scientists revisited the event, the symptoms didn't match ergot poisoning. The timeline didn't match. The spread didn't match. The way people reacted didn't match. The villagers' hallucinations were stronger, more violent, more irrational, more similar to something else entirely. LSD. And this is when a darker theory began to surface, a theory that connects this quiet French town to the CIA's most secretive project ever. To understand what may have happened in Pont-Saint-Esprit, you need to know about a top-secret CIA operation called MK Ultra, a project so disturbing that even CIA directors later admitted it should never have been created. MK Ultra was the CIA's plan to control the human mind, using drugs, chemicals, hypnosis, and psychological torture. And one of their favorite tools was LSD. Not the party drug LSD that people think of today, but pure, experimental LSD, hundreds of times more potent. The CIA wanted to know, could LSD make someone tell the truth? Could it destroy a person's identity? Could it break the human mind? Could it be released on a population to create chaos? And here's the chilling part. They didn't just test it in labs. They secretly tested it on innocent people. Prisoners, mental patients, hospital patients who never agreed, soldiers, foreign citizens. Some subjects never recovered. Some died. Some disappeared. And when investigators tried to expose the truth, the CIA destroyed most of the documents, but not all of them. In 2009, journalist H.P. Albarelli Jr. uncovered CIA documents directly linking the agency to the events in Pont-Saint-Esprit. One of the documents included a conversation between two high-ranking CIA officials. The notes included a chilling reference: Pont-Saint-Esprit and the secret of the contaminated bread. The experiments continue. Yes, the CIA actually mentioned the village by name. Then came something even more shocking: a declassified CIA report from a scientist in the U.S. Army's Special Operations Division. The scientist writing the report was someone you may have heard of before: Frank Olson, a man who mysteriously fell out of a hotel window after questioning the ethics of CIA chemical experiments. Many believe he was murdered.
CIA connections seemed like a conspiracy theory, but the deeper I went, the more uncomfortable I felt. Too many details lined up. Too many documents pointed in the same direction. Here's what really bothered me. 1. The symptoms match LSD, not ergot. Ergot causes slow onset, skin burning, muscle contractions. But what happened in Pont-Saint-Esprit included extreme visual hallucinations, out-of-body experiences, violent behavior within hours, delirium similar to high-dose LSD. Doctors said they had never seen anything like it. 2. Only one bakery was contaminated. If it were ergot, multiple bakeries should have been affected, but only one place, the perfect isolated target. 3. The outbreak spread like a gas or aerosol. People who didn't eat the bread also fell sick. Some inhaled something. Some absorbed something through the skin. This is exactly how the CIA tested chemical agents. 4. The CIA was actively testing LSD in Europe at the time. Documents prove it. They needed a real-world environment. Pont-Saint-Esprit was quiet, isolated, and politically insignificant. The perfect test site. To understand how terrifying this was, you need to hear what villagers actually experienced. One young man believed he had wings and jumped from a second-floor window. He survived, barely. Another man screamed that snakes were eating his stomach and tried to claw himself open. Children ran out of school crying that they saw tigers and dragons crawling across the floor. A man tried to drown himself because he believed the sea was calling his name. A teenage boy was chained to a hospital bed because he kept trying to attack shadows. Doctors with decades of experience said the hallucinations were too strong, too sudden, too bizarre to explain. Some villagers remained mentally unstable for the rest of their lives. And the strangest part? Not one of them could understand what had happened. This is where everything comes together. We know that the CIA wanted to test LSD on large populations. They needed a location outside U.S. borders. They were working with the U.S. Army's Chemical Division. Frank Olson knew too much. The timeline matches. The symptoms match high-dose LSD. The official ergot explanation collapses under scientific scrutiny. So you have to ask yourself, was Pont-Saint-Esprit the first time the CIA tested chemical mind control on an entire population? Some historians think so. Some former intelligence officers think so. And, honestly, after everything I read, I think so too. I can't prove it 100%. No one can. The CIA destroyed too many files. Witnesses died. Scientists disappeared. Documents were censored. But here's something chilling. Albarelli uncovered a handwritten note from a CIA staff member. Next to the line discussing Pont-Saint-Esprit were just 3 words. It worked. Continue. Whether that line is real or not, the feeling it leaves you with is unforgettable. For decades, nothing happened. No investigation. No retesting of the bread. No interviews with survivors. No attempts to understand the outbreak. If this was truly a natural poisoning, wouldn't scientists be studying it? Instead, the incident was quietly forgotten. And even stranger, the bakery where the contaminated bread supposedly came from mysteriously burned down. No samples were preserved. No evidence remained. Everything was wiped clean. Coincidence? Maybe. But when you look at the history of MK Ultra, you'll notice a pattern. Every time evidence pointed toward the CIA doing something illegal, unethical, or monstrous, things disappeared. People disappeared. Documents disappeared. Stories were buried. Pont-Saint-Esprit is no different. You might be thinking, why would the CIA do something this extreme? The answer is disturbing. In the early Cold War, the CIA believed that the Soviets had mind control technology, that China was brainwashing prisoners, that psychological warfare was the future, and that LSD could be the ultimate weapon. They were terrified of being left behind. And when a government is terrified, it will justify anything. Testing LSD on a foreign village? To them, it was necessary. It was strategic. It was acceptable collateral damage. And they never expected anyone to find out. In the end, there are only three possibilities. 1. It was ergot poisoning, the official explanation, simple, neat, and scientifically weak. 2. It was accidental chemical contamination, possible but doesn't match the scale or symptoms. 3. It was a deliberate CIA experiment, supported by declassified documents, chemical warfare researchers, MK-Ultra strategies, timeline alignment, symptoms, villagers' experiences, CIA interest in aerosolized LSD, Frank Olson's involvement, and strange post-event silence. And the more you compare them, the more one answer stands out. So you have to ask yourself, what really happened in Pont-Saint-Esprit? Was it cursed bread, a tragic accident, or the CIA's first mass LSD field test, one they hoped history would forget? I can't give you a definitive answer. No one can. The CIA destroyed too many files. Witnesses died. Scientists disappeared. Documents were censored. But I can tell you something I realized while researching this story. Whenever the CIA says, nothing happened, don't worry about it, that's exactly when you should start paying attention. And if Pont-Saint-Esprit truly was an experiment, then it means something terrifying. The CIA was willing to use real people, real families, real lives as lab rats. No warnings, no consent, no remorse. This is why stories like this matter, because the moment we stop asking questions, the moment we stop investigating the shadows, is the moment history repeats itself. If you want to hear more dark historical events, unsolved mysteries, and buried government secrets, make sure you subscribe, because there are stories even darker than this one. And trust me, you won't believe what comes next. If you want to hear them, if you enjoy diving into unsolved mysteries, dark historical events, and government secrets that were never meant to be uncovered, don't forget to like this video, subscribe so you never miss the next episode, and turn on notifications.